Hey there everyone, it's Bob Martin, the RCSubGuy with the Nautilus Dry Docks. It's a new week, and we're actually starting on Sunday because I couldn't wait to dig in to this Thunder Tiger. I'm all geared up for a workout we got going on here in an hour. I don't usually wear my workout clothes in the shop, but let's get this week started. So, good morning. This is actually Sunday, Mother's Day, but the whole house is asleep. I'm not bailing on Renee here. Just couldn't sleep. I've been out here for a little while in the shop. Been up since like 2. I just wanted to work on the Thunder Tiger. What I've done, I've gone ahead and reinstalled all the dive planes, so you can see them in there. Now you can also see you've got a bunch of like marks and badness going on there, but that's intentional. I'm adding that with my paintbrush, and I did that on the nose, which is all assembled now. I love how it looks. It's just a little bit more of like a weathered, chipped look to the boat. And then the other benefit that this has is all the flaws in the paint. I can conceal as paint chipping. So I'm just going to go ahead and just randomly, put some paint chipping in with a brush. It's a well-used fighter underwater crafty thing. And I'm not going to worry so much about the bottom or the underneath. I'm just gonna have some fun here. Just anywhere that there's some color, the black and the white, and particularly in any areas where there was a paint flaw or an overrun and that kind of thing. Don't want to go crazy. Still obviously want to see it, but just rough it up a little bit. Anywhere there's an edge, that would obviously see, chipping and that kind of stuff too. So I'm just gonna like randomly make some paint chippies all over here. I'm gonna finish all that up, and then I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it because the compressor makes a lot of noise, but I'm kind of tempted to do it. Is fire it up and get that airbrush going so I can do the panel highlights that I've been talking about. I think that's also going to make a really big difference. All the panel lines and little hatches and that kind of thing as well. So we'll see if I can quietly fire up my compressor. Well, I got the whole thing painted up, and I am confused as heck over why the paint is behaving this way. I mean, it looks beautiful. Don't get me wrong. There's just like 2 problem areas. You can see on the rear dive plane, after I cleared it, I got crazing. But the same paint on a different plastic part did not. The gloss black on the front took it perfectly. The same paint on the canopy did not. It's like a little bit crazed. So I think I'm just going to need to repaint the one dive plane for the most part, and repaint the canopy. I want to just pop that off, sand it down, and hit it with the gloss black again. But man, I love this turbine. That is like the coolest thing ever. So now all we're waiting for is the big decal for the side. I need to chew that up, make it look, worn and chipped and peeling. Slap it on the side, hit it with some clear, and it'll be done. Now, bear in mind, I have not yet at all fired this thing up, so I don't even know if it works. So that is on the agenda for this week. Happy Monday, everyone. As you saw a little bit earlier, got some work done on the Thunder Tigre there, which is now, I guess, maybe a Thunder Mustang, I think. Thunder Mustang? I don't know. You saw we got a little bit of crazing going on the canopy there. Logan just stripped it, and we got it back into fighting trim again. Super ultra high gloss. Regained. Once we get that back on, I think it's going to look awesome. Issue. The radio that came with this thing, I believe, has been stripped for parts. There's no frequency crystal in here, and the radio antenna doesn't screw in. Previous owner built this, which I believe he was going to put into like a Futaba or something. It's like a plug-in module for the back. But we don't have a radio. So, problem that's not a problem. Because Steve, the new owner, is rocking the new 900 megahertz radios. So we need to grab a R9SX. Do we have one here? I'll check. Then what we can do is we can just put in for him. I can pair it to my personal radio. We can try it out, and then when he gets it, he just binds and off to the races. And he'll get all the benefits of 900 megahertz. So that is coming along. The battery that I ordered for Typhoon, Amazon says they lost it. It was supposed to have showed up yesterday. It said it was out for delivery, and it never showed up. So they said, maybe lost. Do you want a refund? I'm like, let's try it. So in the meantime, what Logan's going to get to do is clean up all of these wires, pull some front stuff. I got a strategy for the front. The previous owner put this boot on, I guess, and tried to waterproof this motor. I don't know how he did it or if it's going to work. We'll try it. We'll maybe run some power to it and see what it does. There's like a big gap or a seam right here, but I don't know how he waterproofed it or if it's waterproofed. What I would think I want to do, because we've got no periscope module here, is replace this whole assembly with one waterproof servo in the bow that will work the retracts, and then take this motor output and just jiggle jog it over to the bow thruster, and that'll solve two problems. So I think that's going to be a better solution. Oh, we do have R9SX? Yep. Nice. Okay, well, you can pop the front, undo the front, get into the inside. We'll check the battery, charge the battery, find the receiver, unplug the receiver, swap the receiver, and we'll have to grab, I guess, my personal radio. Or, you know what? We got these ones out here. I'll just steal this one. Don't tell him. I'll just steal this one. I'll throw a model in there for the Thunder Tiger. And then we can do some testage on it. And then lastly, this little thing, we figured out what the heck was going on. I have no idea. I've never run into this before. This is exactly what I thought it was going to do. I still have this on. That's really good. What's happening, as this thing is operating at full throttle, this seal assembly is heating up. The seal is expanding, binding the shaft, and slowing down the main drive shaft. Not to mention putting a lot of stress on the motor. Now, I pulled this apart, which just works like this. You can see I had it Loctited on there. We had a little bit of Loctite to make sure this didn't back out. There's a little seal in there. And then as this is turned onto the mounting bushing there, the bearing, it compresses the seal and creates the waterproof interface. But it's the weirdest thing. Like, even if I just barely have it touching, let's see if it'll do it. We'll fire this up and see if it'll do it. So let me fire up the radio.
Welcome to Ethos. Throttle not idle. Switch warning.
Turn on the boat. So I want you to listen really closely. So that's no pressure on the seal, and if I put just a little bit, now listen to the RPMs. Dropping. And now, if I touch this, it is smoking hot, like really hot, uncomfortably hot to touch. And as it gets hotter, RPMs are dropping, dropping, dropping. Very weird. I lubricated that O-ring, and I lubricated the drive shaft inside to make sure that there wasn't rubbing on the bushings inside. That is apparently not the issue. So what I think we're stuck with, I got to take this 4mm shaft because it's metric, as this was manufactured in the UK, pull the seal, put a new 1/8" seal in because that's what I've got in stock, and run a new 1/8" drive shaft, put a new universal in it that's set for 5/8, or so for 1/8, sorry, and put a new dog bone out there set for 1/8 as well. And then we'll see, in theory, that should rectify the issue. It's just a lot of nickering and dickering around. So here's the strategy, guys. I managed to extract the bearing slash bushing slash seal assembly with a little bit of work. Actually, I was going to try and drill it out, as you can see there, and it just twisted right out after the bit caught it, which was super cool. I'm using these, and I've had these for ages and ages. These are brass cup seals that I think Mike Subworks used to make these. But the beauty of this is it just perfectly friction fits right into the hole. So now all I need to do is replace this little chunk of shaft here with a 1/8" shaft, and then we should be good to go. Just make it the exact same length, and I shouldn't have to make any other adjustments. So things are never as easy as you think they're going to be. This Thunder Tiger was sold to me in operational condition, and it's not. So that radio was obviously an issue. But the other thing is the battery is somewhat shot. You can see this thing looks like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Obviously, swollen lithium polymer battery packs are indicative of either exceptional over discharge or overcharge. This is done, completely done. So got to find another battery. Logan's going to pull the front plate out, and you guys have seen us do this before. This is the main equipment plate in the front, and it's got charging ports, so you don't have to keep disassembling everything all together. And then you got the battery pocket right here. And then mounted to the back of this plate, which you get to behind these two bolts, is the receiver. So that's what he's working on right now. We'll swap the receiver out, get the dimensions of the battery pocket, and we'll see what kind of a battery we can find on the old rainforest site. Okay, final reassembly. You can see the new fancy cup seal is in place. Now, just a note about assembly. I put the shaft in first. I made a little adapter for the main drive shaft to go in there so I could reuse the universal joint. And then I slipped on the seal and then put it in and centered it. And because what you don't want to do is install the seal that is not parallel or perfectly in line with where the drive shaft is going to be. So it was just press fit, and then I gave it like a wiggle to center it, and then I secured it to the hull with a little bit of adhesive. So now this spins perfectly freely, and you can see once I power this up, nice and smooth, quiet, no change in RPMs over time. This doesn't heat up, so I think we got it. We're just going to reassemble this bad boy, throw it back in the boat, and we may get it in the pool today. There's supposed to be thunderstorms. We will see. All right, well, while Logan carefully disassembles all of our hard work, so why are we disassembling this whole thing again?
Oh, Well, first it was because I need to get access to the internal components. Now it's because we're going to get the inside with a bit of flat black. Get rid of this reflected yellow sheen.
Yeah, and from the corners where the servos were coming out, you could see the yellow. And since we were in there anyway, we figured we'd hit it with a little bit of paint and give us a chance to see inside, you know, how it's all done. We got some rust on the motor there. I wonder if at one time this might have been flooded. But we'll have to check all the components now that we got the radio in there, because Logan's got the receiver mounted. So we can, and paired it to the Typhoon radio. We should be able to test all the functions once we bypass the battery, which we need to figure out what we're going to order. In the meantime, I am working on Typhoon. Got all the wires figured out. Everything's good. This is going to work out well. The receiver is going to be able to live kind of like right here kind of thing. I don't remember where I got these from, but these are actually super cool. They're like little servo mounting blocks. Part number FPS2831. In case anybody's looking for them. But you can screw them down from the bottom or from the side. So this is really versatile for mounting. If you remember the last Typhoon that we had, where we didn't have any access to the back, we had to replace the rear servo, and it was designed to mount from the side, which is like, I don't know. Maybe if one of you guys know why they did it that way, you can let me know, but I don't know how you're supposed to undo the screws once you have it in there. But my idea is to mount this vertically here using this little pocket majigger, and so switch it from a horizontal configuration to a vertical configuration. And I'll just change the length of the little control rod to match up perfectly in there. So I'm going to be using almost every single one of these channels, which, I don't know, maybe even more. I don't know. Maybe I need to order a TDR12. We'll see. Because once I put the rudder in, I'm still short the bow thruster and the bow tracks. So we've got to figure that out. But one thing at a time, we're going to get a servo in place so we can actually move, you know, our rudders around and stuff. It's kind of binding a little bit. It's not bad. Now that I got it figured out, it's not bad. It's moving okay. A little lubrication, and this thing will be working really good. So, trundling right along. So if you guys watched last week's video, of course you did, because you're subscribed and you catch all of the videos that I release. But you'll remember I picked up a 1/50th scale OTW upholder, which is still waiting to get unloaded in the back of the car. But before it rained, Logan and I really wanted to bolt that big 1/72nd scale Typhoon together, just to show you how incredibly massive it is. Let's take a look at this bad boy. So this boat is in 1/72nd scale, about 8 feet long, 13-inch beam. Like the sail is longer than my forearm. It's absolutely massive. And these are based off the 3D files that we've got at the Nautilus dry docks, just blown up by 200%. Now, just as a little bit of a background here, and to give credit where credit is due, this was actually commissioned, and Steve Hodges was the one that printed it. And he's best known for 3D printing huge submarines. Now, he could probably chime in and tell me exactly, but I know it was well over 1,000 hours of print time, and this is all ABS plastic, so it is absolutely bulletproof and super thick. I'm excited. We've got all sorts of goodies here, you know, gorgeous brass propellers that fit nicely in the rear shrouds here. So this is going to move some water, you know, once we get these in place. The other neat thing about this is up front, you can see that these doors are separate pieces, and the plan is to have these operational and shoot some water-propelled rockets. Now, I am super excited to take this project on, but obviously I've got other builds queued up in front of it. This isn't going to be until later this year, in all likelihood. but it's going to be a completely bespoke control system for it, a modular system, you know, with a separate rocket system, separate ballast system, separate propulsion system. And we're trying to debate how we're going to do this. It's 8 feet long. It's going to have a lot of mass to it. So what we think we're going to do is take a page from the RC plane guys, do some carbon fiber spars so that you can slip the front onto the back, lock it in place. And you got 2 4-foot boats, which is a lot easier to transport than 1 8-foot boat. So be sure to like and subscribe so you get notified for you know, new updates, keep you up to speed on how this thing goes. You guys might remember this boat. It's been on our channel before. This is Howard's 212 Engel from Engel. Howard had a bit of a boo-boo with his boat. Let's move this because it looks like your head's mounted to the top of it. It's the Engel boat. It's a dry hull boat. He had this in the back and it fell off of his bed, I guess, apparently, or something. Put a bunch of force on this and sheared off all of the tabs that go in. This is a bayonet system, right? So all of these tabs are sheared, so now there is nothing that will keep the rear section seated with the front section. And the reason this is a problem is because when this ballast system cycles, it pressurizes the whole thing, and this will literally blow out like a cannonball. We've done it before. So now we've got to try and brainstorm what we can do to hold the back of the boat with the front of the boat. It is such a mechanically important part of the whole assembly that you know, we need to be critical about it.
So my first idea for this was seeing that up here we've got this nice little slot that's been kind of pre-made. If we create just a simple plastic slat that gets attached to the front, you can slide through and just put a simple bolt here, and that'd work pretty well.
Which I like, but the issue that is not good is that this is spaced about 1 inch high. So if this, for whatever reason, flexes at all, it could push the bottom out while the top is locked in. You know, and if this was more of a sleeve that went further in, you know, it would maintain alignment. But this is pretty narrow. This is about 3/4 of an inch. So it can definitely twist. And that's a lot of force. There's a lot of pressure in that WTC when it's fully cycled. And there's just no meat on this, you know, on the back here. I was thinking, you know, if could we put something off the back so that we could have something, you know, a bolt on the bottom somehow. You know, if this wasn't dry compartment, you know, you put a pin through the whole thing and lock it in place, but that's not good. Howard talked to Engel and he basically said, you know, we switched to a different type of plastic. You know, these were all cast resin. You need to buy a whole new boat. And this is a not cheap boat, you know, fully built, trimmed, tested, ready to go. You know, this is, I don't know, whatever, say $3,000. Not the kind of thing that you just want to like, oh well, this will throw it away because we busted some little plastic tabs off. I don't know that we're going to have a solution figured out before we leave, but if any of you guys have a thought, I'd sure love to hear it. Drop your comments down below. Let us know what you think we can do to retain that joint between the rear and forward sections to keep this locked in place. It's Tuesday, and we have been busy packing more orders. As exciting as that is, I'm sure you all are super excited about that. Big crates going out, a couple of Type 7 packages, and then those 2 big destroyers. Right there. So I'm just waiting on some more foam packs. Should be here tomorrow. But the rest of this is all going out today, along with a bunch of stuff here, and a bunch of stuff here. So all those packages are finally done. Just spent $500 on packing materials from Uline, cardboard boxes and foam. This is not the hobby or business you get into to make money. I will tell you that. Gonna start programming the Typhoon. Yes. The Typhoon radio. I got 10 different channels, and that's what's got set up there. I talked about swapping out the receiver, TDR10 for a TDR12. Went ahead and did that. So now it's got a couple more channels, so lots more flexibility. Basically, all I'm going to do right now is set up all of these different mixes inside the radio. And that'll allow me to configure all of the outputs for the boat, mix them, combine them, separate them, whatever we want to do there. So I'll show you a couple, just how easy it is to program a mix in these radios, in case you're wondering. So this is the home screen, and I've already bound the receiver and everything, so I don't need to worry about that. I'm going to go into the model, mixer, no mixes. So this boat has no idea what to do if I move this stick. It just does nothing. So I'm going to do a free mix, and we'll figure out which one we want to do. So channel 1 is our rudder. So I'm going to name it rudder. It's always on. The source is going to be this stick, which it corresponds to the aileron. And then if we go down here, this is where you can do all sorts of fun stuff, like set your endpoints, which they call weight, by the way. You can put an offset. So for example, if you wanted the middle to be 2/3 of the way in a servo throw, you could do that too. You can slow it down in here. Super cool stuff. This is where you also reverse the channel. And then this is the output. So I'm going to put that on channel 1, which it automatically named rudder for me. That's it. That's my rudder channel. So now if I want to add another one, free mix, first position, channel 2 is my forward planes, F, W, D, P, L, N, S. Always on, source is the elevator stick, and I'll put that on channel 2. Do you want to copy the name? Yes, I do. That's it, man. This is how easy it is to set it up. So you could have any input from any transmitter function output to any channel on the receiver. So it's not always built in like with the old radios where this was always 1, this was always 2, this was always 3, this is always 4. I could make this 10. I could make this 4. You know, I could do whatever I wanted to. So there you go. Just a couple of pretty cool things. I will note, however, and I could probably show this. I'll do another mix. Free mix, first position. 3 is the output to the port side port motor. So for a source for that, I could, for example, make this dial, pot 1, and export this to 3. And then what I would do is I would do 4 as the starboard motor. STBD motor. And that source is the right pot, oddly enough. And we're going to export that to 4. Now, what you can actually do is make it so that both of these are controlled by this if you wanted to. So you could do differential steering on these, or you could combine them for just simple forward and back on the throttle, the throttle stick. And to do that, I would just set up another mix. And I might just call this one dual throttle. And that source is going to be the throttle. And so for this, we're actually going to have an output of 2 channels. The first output is going to be on the port motor, and the second one is going to be on the starboard motor. So now you can see when I move this stick, it's controlling both of them. And then if I just move the one, it just moves the one. I wonder what happens if I go half. And then, oh, interesting. So it keeps the throttle setting for the other one. I love it. I love it. So now I've got the combined ability. I can do differential on this and then stick on this. And then there's actually even ways that you could set it up on a logic channel so that these wouldn't work unless you flicked a switch, just like I did on my Seaview. So it's almost lunchtime, and we finally got done packing up shipments. First kind of real work that we got done today. So we think we have a strategy. So we got this old, busted resin ring that was part of this bulkhead. So this had the tabs on it. You can see the little shattered remains of it. And this is what I came up with as a potential replacement piece. Now this is 3D printed resin. This is not what we're going to use. What we need to do is we're going to cut this so that we can slip it in half and push it in, and then test the fitment in the main hull. So maybe before we do that, we'll just check and see how it looks in there. Oh, this is way, well, no, it's almost the right size. Little tiny bit too big. We could probably sand it down. So as it turns out, we tried fitting this in. I ground down the outside, got the outside all fitting and everything, but then this diameter was too big, and then we got this in, and this was too big. So I was just going to scale everything down by, I don't know, 2 or 3%, something like that. But this is the idea. You can see, it's just, it drops in, and then slips in, and we'll glue it to the inside face. So there'll be a massive amount of surface area in there. And that'll allow this ring, once it's produced in the nylon, to bite on the inside of the forward piece. So I'm going to do one more iteration. I'm just going to take the same part, scale it down a little bit, and then hopefully it fits a little better. But I think this is the right path. I think this is going to work. Okay, I dug out my old instructions for the T-Max from the last Typhoon build that I did, because I needed to remember what all of these things did. They almost need to be labeled. So the way that we got this set up, we got the throttles and throttles, just like I talked about before. Independent and linked throttles. The other thing that we got is the ballast system. So the ballast system is now on this. There's 3 channels that it takes up. One is the main switch. So up is basically fully blown, so surface trim. 90% neutral buoyancy, negative buoyancy, all the way down to the bottom. And then you've got 2 sliders on the side. And the reason I put them on the side is because there's a definite up and down to these. So with the left slider trims the boat forward and back, so you can make it do this kind of thing. And then this one is fine-tuned adjustments of neutral buoyancy. So you could, for example, go to the center position, and then if the boat is sinking slightly, you could use this to adjust that neutral buoyancy. A lot of controls. This is a very complicated boat, and complicated not only from an implementation perspective, but from an operational perspective. It's going to take a little while to get used to it, but it's all fine. It's all good. We'll figure it out. Just a reminder. So we got a motor, which I assumed is brushed, out here. Looks like they tried to do waterproofing. Hopefully they figured this out. The reason being, initially what I was thinking is we'll remove this, do a jigger jogger over here, and power this thruster via this output shaft. But that turned out that it's going to be a bigger issue than I thought, because this is the drive motor for the bower tracks right here, which I've disconnected up here. That's why they're flopping around. So this shaft spins exceptionally slow. Now I could remove all of this and then mount a different motor in here that comes out and goes over, but that's not really helping us. It's not saving any work, and it's not really making it any better. So my thought is to give this a try. We'll just give this a try. We'll see if it works. We'll hook this up, see if that spins. You know, we'll have it in the water. We'll see if it works. We'll know if we dunk it for testing and, you know, it fails after a short period of time, that it just isn't feasible to do that way. And then we can look at maybe a brushless in the wet or something like that. I'm going to do away with all of this, though, because there is no control board at all for the retractable bow system. I don't know where it went or why it wasn't installed. But this is just a motor on a shaft. That's all it is. So there's nothing stopping it from hyperextending the bow planes. So I'm going to go with a remote waterproof servo in the wet up here. And it'll just be super simple. One end of the horn to one end of the horn to the other. And when it spins, it'll extend and retract. And we just have one little connection and it'll be good. So that means I can take all this stuff out. We're not going to use it. Chop, 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 break. So Logan is fishing in our hot tub. He's not having much luck. This is, what is that?
This is the Deeper Plus Pro 2 sonar device.
Yeah. So it's got that, I mean, I don't know anything. Holy crap, look at that. But the idea behind this thing, I've had this for forever sitting on the shelf. And I talked to Andy, the guy with the Typhoon, into seeing if we could implement this in a Typhoon, because now that we've cleared up that shaft that runs to the front, we got a huge, massive open area that we could potentially mount this. So what we're doing right now, we're just testing it to see if it'll work. And
Chuck it in the pool, I'd say. See if it gets a distinctly different reading.
okay, yeah, sure. This is pretty cool because it's just standalone. You just put it in the boat. That's it. You don't have to integrate it with the system, which is good because I got no more channels or anything like that. So, oh, I never even noticed it actually has
Yeah, I think it has distance from.
distance and then the depth 1.1 meters.
So if I go ahead and go quite a ways, distance got shorter, because that makes sense.
Well, it's saying 1.2 meter depth, so I like that. I don't know what the 3.3 is. We should probably read instructions. But the other thing that's really cool is it's got the temperature of the water, 26.6. I don't know what 70% is.
Visibility?
I don't know. Again, instructions would be super smart. Well, we'll have to...
Oh, you can also widen the beam angle.
I think we want it as narrow as possible because we want as narrow a hole out the bottom as we can.
You can also change the data, so this is now a wider beam on more basic data.
But we'll play with it. We'll play with it. It'll be cool. I'm excited. So we want to continue our research with the sonar. And we took a look at the boat. And because we got so much room in here, we got options. Now we could put it here, but it would have to be off-center because this motor would block it. So basically when the boat dove, there would be some buoyant force tipping it to port. Probably not a lot, but enough to make it so it could upset the balance. Can't put it under here because it needs to float at about this height. But we got room right here. And the center point, the water line of the boat is even with the top of this watertight box, which is about a 1/2 inch under here, which is about like this. We got room. So that is a big check. Now what Logan is going to do is he's going to conduct more testing. He's going to need that. we want to cut a 1-inch hole. We're just going to use cardboard because we're cheap here. And we're going to hold the cardboard underneath the sonar. Well, he's going to demonstrate. And we'll slowly lower the cardboard until the signal starts doing wonky things. So we're going to put it on the 7-degree arc, and we're going to see at what point the signal gets all screwed up. If it stays if we can go about 4 inches, that would be more than enough for this to work with a 1-inch hole in the bottom of the of the hull, which you would never ever see. We could even go bigger. We go 2 inches if we wanted to. We could do away with the whole testing thing and just cut a 2-inch hole.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, another issue that we had was the stability of the bob, where any instability caused the signal to vary wildly.
Right.
So we would need something to keep it almost perfectly level the entire time.
Well, I mean, this is designed for fly fishing. So the only thing they do, they tie to a fish line to it and they throw it out in the water. Its stability keeps it level.
We saw it out there when I was just holding it loosely. It was going crazy.
Well, we had a big heavy hose on it, pulling it off to the side, though. You had to hold it up. At any rate, I think if we just let it free float in there, it'll self-right. Because this is going to be an enclosed environment. The waves aren't going to hit it. The currents aren't going to hit it. The only thing that's going to move is the water level up and down.
In absolute worst case scenario, we can just carve a vertical channel in and glue, like, literally just a piece of something on. And as long as that's in the channel, it can't rotate on that.
Yeah, we could if we need to. Mm-hmm. Oh, because that has heading too or something, didn't it?
It had a boat setting. I don't know what the heck that meant, but it had a boat setting.
Troll with it or something? I don't know. Anyhow, so now we need to decide, are we just going to drill a hole and not worry about it, or are we going to test it? We should test it.
We should.
It really wouldn't take anything to do. All right, you get set up, and then when you're ready, let me know and we'll video.
I'm just going to find the 1-inch hole.
So we just got back from the pool, and it went like really, really well. We didn't film it because it was too much complication. We had to have one person monitoring like the data and another person holding the globe, and we had to move this thing up and down. So
Too many hands.
yeah, so we just simplified things and just got the data. With a 1.5-inch hole, we managed to pull the cardboard cover at least 8 inches down.
Yeah, between 6 and 8 inches.
Which means it's double what we actually needed. We tried it at 20 degrees.
The data got really heavily skewed and started to get really shaky. When it was at 7 degrees, it was stock perfect the entire time.
Rock solid. It was beautiful. So we got the idea, setting to 7 degrees. Now we need to make a 1.5-inch hole in the bottom of the hull and then make our sleeve, and that's it. It's like a self-contained. And you said the whole process to get it set up is easy, right?
As soon as you dunk it, that powers on. Then all you do is you go into your Wi-Fi settings, you select the device, and then when you go back to the app, it just starts transmitting data.
It's awesome. I'm excited about it. First submarine, RC submarine for like pleasure use that I'm aware of that had some sort of a functioning sonar. So that's going to be super cool. So I am fabricating a little shelf. Bloop. It's going to go like that inside. And the receiver and the pitch controller are going to live on top. So it'll be up out of the way with this. And then the antennas are going to stick up right under the cover. And my idea is to put 2 plastic tubes as part of the lid that'll fit over the 2.4 gigahertz antennas. So you just put it down and then the lid can come all the way off. There's no attachments or anything. So I think that's going to work really good. And then over there, Logan has a cylinder that was sent back to us that really, I could take a look at the email and see, but basically he just said it doesn't work. And he sent it to us and he said, please make it work. So,
Email correspondence.
oh, hey, there you go. I guess we could read it. Figure out what the heck's going on here.
Essentially just said we could send it back. That's it.
Oh, no, that didn't help. All right. Whatever.
Alright, so got the servo unpacked, took it apart. Good news, pretty well everything works. So for basic troubleshooting, all I did was get the battery, tested the battery first, make sure that it's not just dead battery, or that the battery's puffy or anything. from there, I just worked backwards. So battery connections here, goes through. If power is working here, just needed to backtrack. These wires were disconnected, so reconnected those. Those lead directly to the ESC as well as the receiver. Seeing that and having everything plugged in, I just turned the transmitter on, gave it a basic function test, and pretty well everything worked. There was kind of a bit of user error on my part where I plugged in the channel 5 servo controlling the ballast backwards because I was just not paying attention. But that was just me flipping a servo and everything was working. The only thing we've found that was having a bit of trouble in here, I'm sure you can see that little spot of grime, is the ballast servo, which appears to have gotten very heavily corroded to the point where it can no longer spin in place, which means that it's locked and can't safely cycle anymore. So we're going to have to take that out, probably get a fresh wheel collar on there, fresh servo, but other than that, the rest of the boat works.
Wednesday, my last day in the shop for like 2 weeks because we are going on vacation for our 25th anniversary to Greece, like I mentioned before. Got a lot that we want to get done today. Had some things come in yesterday that we need to unpack and implement. Got the decals for the Thunder Tiger. I want to show you what I'm doing with that here right away. So all I did is I just grabbed my Dremel and I just kind of put the sanding disc on here and I just chewed up the decal a little bit. And then grabbed my knife, traced around the shape, and this is what we ended up with. I think it looks absolutely awesome. We're going to stick this last one on. We got new battery. LiPo battery pack, 6.6 amp hours, should fit in there pretty nicely. We're going to have to end up retrimming this. I know we are. But we're going to go ahead and do that. And Logan's working on refurbishing this cylinder that we got. Did we figure out where we're at, what was wrong with it?
Yep, so this servo wasn't able to rotate the inner mechanism, so I have to remake that since that servo no longer functions.
Okay, bit of a revelation. What was actually going on in there?
So the servo was actually fine. Turns out that this was binding in the shaft, which is confusing for a couple of reasons, but it's just brass on brass. There shouldn't be anything that can corrode there.
Yeah, so this is the vent shaft. It's sealed at one end, and there's a hole in there that allows air to move up when you move it into the vent position. It was completely locked up. It was seized inside here. So this was not an electronics issue. This was just a simple maintenance issue. This just needed to be lubricated, which is just, like I said, basic maintenance. So, like, if we put that in from the top, we should just be able to easily move it up and down. But it's super stiff. So we just got to clean that up. We're going to use a little alcohol, clean that up, and then a little bit of grease, and that should be back in fighting condition again. And the other kind of weird thing about this, the stainless steel, or that's brass, I guess, is there's like rust and garbage like all over it. But I mean, it's brass. Like, it shouldn't rust. Very strange. But at any rate, we'll get this thing dialed in, cleaned up. Not a terrible situation. I'm glad there's no electronics, that are fried or anything. Super stupendous progress on the Thunder Mustang. Thunder Mustang's kind of cool. I kind of like it. Thunder Pony, Thunder Seahorse. Got everything all done. We got the radio in. We got the channels figured out. Set our throws. New battery is installed. And this is what she looks like here right now. Yeah, I still got the radio on. So we got our dive planes. Now I switched these around because I was getting very, very little throw in the back and tremendous throw up front. With these planes, these are actually oversized, more like the Seawolf version of the Thunder Tiger that came out. I think this is definitely adequate throw for diving and surfacing in the front. And then we got lots of throw in the back there now. Got our rudder, and that's set up for equal throw on both sides. We got our throttle nice and smooth. And I got the ballast system. So the ballast system set up on a switch now rather than the stick. So this is what she looks like. We are ready for trimming. One thing I'll note in here, Steve, when you get this, you see that's the charging port or the balance port for the LiPo. You're going to need to get a little extension to charge up the LiPo so you don't have to take it out of there. Not a big deal. You can grab that on Amazon for next to nothing. Yeah, so we are ready to throw this in the water. I got to turn this thing off. There we go. And let's see where it floats. Well, here we are once again out at the top secret test facility. We're going to see where this floats. Hopefully, it's going to be pretty close. The previous owner had this thing running at one time. You know, the weight differential between those two batteries shouldn't be extreme, so should be close. I'm hoping. If it is, we will power it up, throw it in the pool, cycle the ballast, see how that all goes. But for now, power's off. We're just going to dunk it in the water and see where it floats. Well, it's level-ish. I don't mind it being low in the stern because then that prop won't pull any air. Let's fire up the radio. We'll cycle the ballast and we'll see what submerged trim looks like. So I don't know if this is set up so that down is actually down and up is actually up. So we'll just kick the pump on and hope it starts sinking. There we go. So yeah, it needs a lot of weight. Get out of here, pinecone. So these are the stock weights that come with it. Well, that's all the weight I brought. That's level. Now the issue is the weights are in the middle and they slide back and forth. I got this too far forward, so it looks like we're going to need to pull it all apart and shift all the weights as far forward as we can get and then add these on. We're done with this thing. You're gonna operate that and I'll hold this and make sure it doesn't do anything stupid. So do the rudder. I've got a rudder output, dive plane output, throttle.
Whoa.
Throttle, vroom, vroom, vroom. There we go. Yeah, the radio's too close to the unit. These don't like that. And then the ballast system.
Wrong way. I keep on using channel 6 for some reason. Oh, I'm just it works. I'm just pressing it.
Oh, and the pump. There you go. Mm-hmm. All right, cool.
Yeah, I just find it kind of funny when you're pressing it like this and you see it go up and down so fast.
And we tested the integrity of the vent. It's sealing properly. So the only time it lets the air out of the ballast chamber is when the vent stem is retracted, just like that. We are in good shape. Pack this sucker up and we are done. So we got the Thunder Tiger all dialed in. Actually, no, the Thunder Pony, the Thunder Seahorse. This is fully flooded, so little bit of positive buoyancy, but this is basically neutrally buoyant. This should be exceptionally responsive in the water. We're gonna throw it in the big pool right now, see if we can get some footage of it underwater. Oh yeah, baby. Boy, it takes a second to start a turn, but once it starts to turn, it swings over hard. Oh, that is awesome.
That,
Look how tight it
that chrome is so good underwater. I really want to see what that GoPro is getting whenever you go head on at it, so you can really see the.
Yeah, I'll try and do that. So I, for one, am exceptionally happy with how this turned out. Now, if you remember, I swapped out the connections here for the dive planes because I thought the rear needed more authority. I think actually they just need to be swapped back again because it worked fine. It was a lot of fun, but to have a little bit more authority on the front, I think would be good. So just got to take 2 seconds, swap these two little linkages around. But man, oh man, was that easy and fun to drive. It was interesting when it turns. It takes a second or two, and then it whips around almost like you're drifting a car, and then you have to almost correct with the rudder. It's super fun. I'm really excited to see what our underwater footage looks like from the GoPro. Just got a couple of boats in, so you guys are getting first crack at it. Dive Tribe's going to get the initial listing, though, as well as the pricing. But I just wanted to tease you with this. 2 boats, both Small World models offering. You got the 96 Kilo and a 96 Blueback. I've not opened them up. We literally just unpacked them. These are really cool sized boats. So let me just, I want to open this up and see what it looks like inside. Okay. Look at that fancy blue layup on the inside there. Set up for 4 dive planes. Okay, that's all good. And we got the standard conversion kit. We got set up for a Velcro hold down there. We got our dive planes, and that is not connected to anything. That must have popped free. Oh yeah, it did pop free. So that'd be the rudder on the bottom. And then it's missing the universal joint there. But these came together, and I think the idea behind this is that you would use one cylinder interchangeably between both boats. I think that's what's going on. Let's take a look at the Blueback here. This has got the business end of things. Okay. Looks like we need an intermediate shaft that goes in between there. Is this just loose? We've got our rudders, dive planes, those are really good. Drive shaft is really good. So, oh yeah, this would go back. It looks like he shipped it so that the oh, and here's the forward dive planes. There we go. So looks like this is going to be really solid. We're going to have to go through the box and see if we can dig up the intermediate shaft. There you go. That's how that goes on. Looking good. That's a solid 250 sub driver in there. But these are super cool. These are really fun pool boats. You know, these are great for a swimming pool. they will buzz around in a swimming pool with no problem. You'll be able to turn around and have a ton of fun. So just wanted to share that. Before we wrap up today, I got to show you the upholder too, because that is another super cool boat that is coming up right away. I didn't even honestly remember package comes with a radio. This is like turnkey boat, man. It's pretty cool. I mean, obviously I haven't tested it or anything, but everything is there, and the paint is beautiful. You did a really good job on painting and weathering this thing up. What a cool pair of boats. Found the extra parts, brand new snorkel, all periscopes. We got more periscopes. I guess this must be for the Kilo. That'd be for the blueback. And then we got the coupler, dog bone coupler, and the intermediate drive shaft for the blueback. So looks like comprehensive package, man. All right, so let's talk upholder here. You guys may have seen this on my channel a long time ago, and if you've ever been to Subfest, you'll have seen this thing in operation. So generally speaking, Logan's hiding it behind him, the case, and that snaps down over top of this, and it creates an enclosure for storage and transport, which is super cool. Built-in straps with the foamy protectant on there, which is super cool. I mean, look at these torpedoes, 48 scale torpedoes. It's a 50th scale kit put out by OTW. It's a nice size. Lots of cool detail in here. Some things I'm just going to point out. Functional torpedo shutters. Those open and close. Really cool details here. Stainless steel mesh intakes here. We got a little crewman. They're hiding. Hi, guys. They pop up and down too on remote control. The periscopes move up and down on remote control as well. There's the fill port for the air and pressure gauge. So this pops up when you charge it, so you can give a visual indication of how much air pressure you've got. It's for all the pneumatics that control everything. Can you unscrew that screw in the back there? Oh, this. So if you can see that in the back there, these little stands. The idea is you can set this, and it just leans back. Now it's not in there, obviously. Battery goes in the front, and there's the battery. It's a 5 amp sealed lead acid battery. You got servo connections in there. There's all of the tracks for the operational periscopes and such. So just a super cool boat. You know, that's an OTW watertight cylinder, and that's what this stand is for. Whole separate stand to bring the cylinder out and work on. We got the 3D printed linkage tree in the back there, color-coded linkage. There's connections for the air system. Just a cool boat. It's going to make somebody a real showstopper. So this is going to get listed. Again, all of the information and details is going to go out to my Dive Tribe buddies. And after that, we'll open it up, put it on the website for everybody in case nobody from Dive Tribe is looking for one right now. Let's go ahead and put that back down there. And by the way, it comes with the radio system, all the periscopes, pump for the pneumatic system, the stands that we talked about, and a folder of goodies that includes wiring diagrams. That's right, you'll actually know how it works. Slick as hell. Look at this. Comes with a case. Hard case for the radio. Well, I think that's gonna about do it for this week's video. Like I said, it's a short one because I'm taking off, heading out to Greece with my beautiful wife, Renee, for our 25th wedding anniversary. Hope you enjoyed this. We had a lot of cool projects going on, and I'm super happy about the submarine fighter jet situation that we got going on. Plus, we got a lot of other cool boats going on, and new sub projects for you to glom onto if you're looking to begin your fleet, supplement your fleet, replace your fleet. If you have any comments or questions, drop them down below. I always love to hear from you. You can email me anytime, bob@nautilusdrydocks.com. Just a note, while I'm away, I will not be checking email. I will not be responding to email. Obviously, nothing's getting done in the shop, and I won't be shipping orders. But you can feel free to place orders, and we'll look after them as soon as we get back. So with that, on behalf of myself, Bob Martin, the RCSubGuy, and Logan, who is up doing some other stuff right now, you have a great day, and we'll catch you next time.